Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, I know you guys probably are already settled in for the evening and don't want to have yourselves on camera, but just before we get started, can y'all come on camera for just a moment with me? Please, pretty please, pretty please. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, oh, yay, everybody. All right. I know we have a few more people who have registered. I want to give them a couple of minutes. And so the reason why I wanted you guys to come on camera is just so we can kind of talk a little bit while we give people maybe about 5 minutes to join us. Um, just kind of I want to hear your thoughts. One of the things that I want Mogul School to be is a place where your questions that you've always had about business, about marketing, about PR, about strategy, about funding, about getting things off the ground, about keeping things going, how to put the steam behind what you're doing, all of those questions can be answered. I don't want to just I've built some curriculum, but I don't want to build my curriculum on just my thoughts. I know what I've been through. It's been a treacherous road. It's been a rough road, but it's been a road. And so I know the things that I have needed along the way, but I also know that one of my greatest needs along the way was always just finding someone who would answer my questions, who would believe in my vision well enough to not try to shift me from what I was called to do, and that would just answer my questions, and even beyond answering questions, really point me to real resources. So I know what I have needed, and I think that that's going to fill up a lot of the curriculum as we go week after week. But I want to put you guys in the seat where I was, where you have specific questions about processes, about business, about how to grow things, how to take your idea from an idea to an actual entity that can actually solve a problem. I want to hear your needs, and then I could probably answer any question you have. So because of the road that I've been on. So that is kind of going to be the structure. We're going to evolve. This is truly a school for moguls. Moguls are people who have influence, who have a voice, who have a say in what happens in this world. And so you have a say in what happens in our classes. And so please do not be shy about talking to me. Don't be shy about asking me to explain things. If you've been in one of my crypto classes, I don't mind answering questions. I don't mind digging for answers. So I want this to be of benefit to you. I want this to be very, very useful to you. So please, and you guys that are here, y'all already know me. So, I'm gonna, I want very much to just give what's been given to me, and point in the ways that I've been pointed. And of course, also take some of the pain out of the process. So, all right, so that's kind of where we are. Do not be shy. I will keep an eye on the chat. But the other thing, if you know me, sometimes I get going and I'm like, I missed the chat. I didn't hit it. So raise hands, come off mute and talk. Let this be conversational if we can. Tonight, we're going to be focused on why. I'm going to tell you my why, and then I'm going to talk about what it means to find your why. I'm going to tell you how obviously some of you already know how I got started in business, but I'm going to also talk more about how I was refined by the Lord in business. And I do want to be clear, even though, I am very much steeped in, secular marketing, and I've done a lot in the secular space. This school is for those who want to occupy as believers in business or in ministry or running a project. So there's no place in anything that I'm doing where we set aside who we are as apostolic women, as women with vision, and as women who will have influence on this earth. Yesterday, I don't know how many of you guys were in and I know, again, as we grow, some of the people won't know what I'm talking about because not all of them are in the same, like church group, and we kind of share a space spiritually, the ones who are here with us right now. So some people, when they see this broadcast, won't know some of the things I'm referring to right now. But if anybody was in the fourth class of the Flames 2022 after, the training yesterday, the Prophets and Apostles training, one of the things, oh, is she? Okay, hang on a second. Teresa is having trouble logging in. All right, so I definitely don't want her to have trouble. You can tell her she can text me at 832-564-1661, but let her know it's gonna require that she register, and she's also going to need to put in the password Mogul. So let me know, Elizabeth, how that goes. Okay, and I'll just kind of I'll be watching the phone also. So
What's the number again? Sorry.
832-564-1661. That's going to come directly to the one I have in hand. And anybody can,
532. Sorry.
it's okay. 832-564-1
564.
Yeah. 1661.
1661. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, she's logged on. Okay.
Oh, great.
Never
Fantastic.
mind.
And guys, you know, we all have such busy pages, so there are people who may not have seen the announcement. It would be so wonderful if you repost the post and let people know that we are live, that we're in class. It'll only take them a minute or so to register and get in. You can be a last minute registrant. There, literally, this is a free school, so the only thing I want is for as many people to be present as possible. So would you please share? Would you please tag Mogul School is in session, whatever form of that you can, and please get people into the room. This way, as we go along, each week I'm going to have a primary focus, but again, I'm still going to be taking your questions regardless. But it'll be great for people to be able to get in as early as possible in this process, so that week after week, as we build on what we've talked about the previous week, it'll be easier. Hey, oh, that's one of my favorite people in the world. Hi, Clayton.
Hello, how are you?
I am wonderful. I'm so happy to see all of you. Your face just made my evening. I will tell you, and people have said, Nicole, how come you always freak out when it's Clayton or Caitlin this is why. I'm literally like a 51-year-old former it girl. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be stepping out at a very young age. And it thrills me. It thrills me to see that courage, because it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. You still have bills to pay. All the same things that somebody at 50 has, you have. And so I thank God for the opportunity to speak into any woman, any person really in business, but very especially when I'm not going to be getting emotional on this thing, but when it's a young woman starting out, I don't know, it's just a blessing. It's a blessing to be in the space, to be able to speak into it and to be a blessing. But anyway, so some of what I'm going to talk about tonight, I know, Clayton, you've already started your business. Kimberly, I know that I'm not sure. I feel like you're in a business or you have a business idea. I'm not quite sure where you are, but I feel like I've heard this in one of the sessions that you've been in. So I want to know more. Tanja, I know your husband has a business, and I remember getting a word from you that you were being called to do more in that business. Oh, my other baby. Hey, Prophetess Anisha. So glad to see you pop in. I was just sharing with everyone who has assembled, please share that we are live. Again, all of our pages are so busy that there's so many announcements all the time. We're all doing so much that people may not all know. I've had a few registrants, but I want to make sure. So please tag Mogul School is in session and share. This is free to all. And I would love to make sure that we just really share. Okay. Anyway, so we are going to be, okay, Kimberly, great. Thank you for that. Okay, very cool. So what Kimberly has said is, I'm interested in starting a business. I'm not clear, however, on the business. Got it. Let me tell you something. I've had so many businesses because the very fact that I wanted to succeed in business. And I have, but so we'll talk about when you have lots of ideas, when you don't know exactly how to drill down, because tonight's focus is the getting started space. But I want to qualify that a little bit because some of you guys have started already. Oh, Hey, Prophetess Mercy. Oh, y'all, all of my loved ones. I love you guys so much. I'm so glad y'all are here. But some of you have already started businesses. And so when we talk about getting started, there's also starting another service or product line. So the things that we talk about tonight can be overlaid either on even just launching the business, ministry, project, book, whatever it is that you're working on, or if you have an existing brand or a brand that you're building out, then what it means to also start a new service line, launch something new within what you're doing. There are so many things that have to be considered. Let me give you an example. Say, like Clayton is in the hair business, but she's trying to think about like what kind of additional revenue stream can I place in my business that makes sense, right? So maybe the things that she might be looking at is branding hairbrushes, branding flat irons that are safe to use on the hair that she sells, branding a wax stick that helps to keep the leave out down, things that really make sense for, these are good ideas too, by the way. Even going into, yeah, definitely, so things related to hair care. It's very easy these days. Let me see what Elizabeth's telling me, guys. Just one quick second. Oh no, tell her what she can do. She can just register on this thing on Zoom. So if Eventbrite is not letting her register, it's okay. She should be able to register and join. I didn't put a restriction on being able to join in after we've begun. So she should be able to get in. Please let me know how she fares so I can help her. Anyway, so when you're considering product lines, additional service lines or additional product lines, it's really great when you automatically are thinking, okay, how do I make my brand make more sense? How do I create add-on sales? How do I create sales that lift the ticket? So we'll be talking a little bit about that. Lifting the ticket is one of the okay, so here's a secret right off the top. When you are wanting to grow your customer base, and again, I know that some of us are in ministry, some of us are in things where it's kind of touchy to have this kind of talk, but we're going to talk about it because you should, if we've been given a mandate by God, we should still treat it like a business, right? We should think of it from a business perspective. And I know that a lot of people struggle with that, but I'm not saying that we treat God's people like a business. We don't treat them like we're work for hire, but if we are offering them a service or a product, and we know that even that service or product is something that God has said, this is what I've called you to do, then a part of the stewardship of that is knowing how to do it well, right? Knowing how to make good decisions concerning that business. So when you're considering launching new product lines or service lines, it makes a lot of sense to say, how can I bolster the purchase that someone's already going to make, right? So in marketing, one of the things that's like one of the golden rules is it's easier to grow the existing ticket than it is to grow the customer base, right? So think about that. If I already have a captive audience in a business, isn't it easier for me to create conversations with my existing consumer, my existing buyer, that will cause them to want to have other things that I sell that enhance what they're already buying from me? I think a great example, and Prophetess Anisha, Prophetess Mercy, I'm still waiting on see you, Prophetess Tanja and Kayla. All of you guys, do join us on camera if you can, because I really want this to be conversation style as we talk. But there you are. Hey. Oh, you got, is that Essence in the back? Hi, Essence. Welcome to class.
Essence. She's in class learning.
Yes, baby moguls.
That's right.
So I wanted to use you, Prophetess Anisha, as an example. So she is doing something in ministry that is very unique in the, hi, Kayla, welcome, that is equipping a wife to function as a CEO of her life, as a CEO of her family. And so we know that she's done Powerhouse Wives. Now she's releasing something else. We haven't even talked about this, but it's a great example. the apostolic wife. So it's a reasonable trajectory to speak about our personal power and then go into our leadership in what she's teaching. It makes sense. It makes it easier to follow the path of what she's, and forgive the language, but again, we're treating the things we're called to do like business. For the sake of Mogul School, we're talking about business minds, business strategy, and being very focused, because if the mandate is to go ye therefore, right? This is a huge world, and it takes strategy to cover the world, right? It's not like you can just open the door and be like, hey, the Lord said buy this. That's not going to work, right? So there has to be some strategy in place. So even when when they were saying go out 2 by 2, that we read things like that, but that was a strategy, right? That was a system that they put in place because during those, older times, that was what was going to work for them. And so now we have to look at what our go out by 2 by 2 really is. And so Prophetess Anisha is a great example. So what do you think it's like when you have a product or a service and then your idea for your service extension doesn't seem to match, right? Don't seem like it goes. Like, say, Clayton, you wanted to extend what you're doing and move into like makeup and things like that, right? So you need a bridge. I'm sure you do, because it makes sense, but you still need a bridge to get the person from their head to their face, right? And so one of the things that you might do, instead of going directly to lipstick, it would be lashes. Because why? Lashes is hair. It's the whole thing. It's the whole conversation, like have the texture be the same as the texture that's on your, you can create a conversation. So another thing about getting started, and I know I've already jumped past my intro, I'm gonna go back, but I just wanted to give an example of how, if you're already in business or if your ministry is up and running, this conversation around getting started tonight is still applicable, because you will be getting started all the time. I've had really good conversations with Prophetess Mercy about like what it's like to take your content and break it up over a long period of time, right? So if you use a calendar year and you're using content strategy to help put out what you're selling or what you're delivering or what you're sharing, what you've been called to share, that means that, every month you're starting. Right? Every month you're starting a new message. Every month you're starting a new campaign. So getting started is a constant, it is a constant awareness that we should have when we're working. So it's not that we're always starting new and never finishing something. That's certainly not what we want to be doing, but it's always being on track to continue to deliver something new and fresh. So anyway, so kind of jump past where I wanted to start. I'm going to go back a little bit. And again, tonight we're talking about the why. Which you're going to hear my why. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to even dig deeper and flesh out your why, because your why will power so much in your endeavor. Your why will tell you who, your why will tell you how, your why will tell you when. It will inform so much about what you do in your business, your vocation, your book, your film, whatever it is that you work on, whatever it is that you produce. I saw your eyebrow go up, Clayton. But whatever it is that you're working on, your why is going to power that. And again, like I said, I am not separating my faith from Mogul School. I know that I didn't use a lot of Christian verbiage or vernacular in my announcements, but I can't separate the Lord from what I'm doing because I'm sent, right? And so just really quickly before we start, I'm going to say a quick prayer, and then we're going to talk about my why, and then we can have open forum questions too, okay? All right, so Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for every businesswoman, every minister, every author, every gift, every dream, every mandate that is represented here in Mogul School on tonight. Lord, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity, Lord, to share, to pour, to support, to grow with these people who have assembled here tonight and all of those who will join us. Father, I ask that you breathe on every God-breathed, purpose-driven vision that you have laid in the hands of those who are present and those who will later watch the classes as we go along. God, Lord, let your fullest expression be made manifest through these ones. Let the fullest expression of your glory, let your purpose, let your original design that you had in mind when you gave each one of them a vision, let it be manifest. Oh, Jesus. And let many be touched, many be blessed, many be brought forward, many voices be heard in the name of Jesus. I thank you, God. I thank you that as we go along, that you will pour out through me, and that what you want to see happen, God, is what will happen. So, Father, we bless your name. Each one of us right now, we just pledge to lift you up in our businesses, in our ministries, in every endeavor that we touch in your name. We lift you up first, and we believe that you will draw all men. And we thank you for the opportunity to steward your vision for our lives in the name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, amen. All right, so, and Mogul School, you know how they start with the Pledge of Allegiance in other school? That's our Pledge of Allegiance at Mogul School. So why? So I have two different whys, right? There's my other baby. Hi, Sissy. Prophetess Mercy has joined us on camera. So my first why, I've shared this with you guys in other classes. I literally just had a hunger to have my own PR firm. I wanted to be in the music industry or the entertainment industry or some part of that industry. And it was like just all I could think about all the time when I was much younger. And so there came a point where I couldn't not do it any longer. And so I left in. God definitely blessed me and opened doors for me immediately. I was convinced that I was invincible. So I kept leaping. And of course I bumped my head and broke my neck and knocked my kneecap out of place. And I had all kinds of experiences, but in those experiences, I have learned a lot. My why has changed. And I'll tell you, I kept asking the Lord, how do I even springboard into this? And so I'm going to tell you what happened. So in 2017, the Lord gave me a completely different, he put purpose around my dream. He actually put a mandate in place. And he said to me to equip the least of these. He said, call for the artists, call for the businesswomen, call for the ones who don't quite have all the tools, but have a dream. Call for them and fill them up, create things for them. And when I received that word, let me tell you what was happening in my life. You guys kind of know the backstory. If you've seen any of the places that people have asked me to give my testimony, I was going through it. In 2017, we had just had Hurricane Harvey. I was by myself with, young kids going through, and I couldn't even understand who. I can keep working my own business, but what are you saying to me? Equip who? Equip them with what? And so, I started doing little things, right? I started posting on Instagram, just kind of putting like encouragements out. But it's been a process. I've been as helpful as I could to people in the background. Like I make myself available to people no matter what. I'm going to sit with you if you need me. I'm going to pour into you. But even I understand that is like what I said. I can't just be like, hey, the Lord said help you. No, I have to put some shape around this part, this leg of my journey. There has to be shape just like there was on every other part of my journey, especially even more so than the parts that I was powering. The Lord is powering this part, right? And so I made a commitment. And so Mogul School is the outworking of that commitment, and other classes and other things. We're going to just grow along the way. Yes, I'm going to pour and I'm going to bring back, I have anyway, we're going to talk about also being balanced so that we know when we're supposed to offer things that pay and when we're supposed to offer ourselves. And I've made a decision to be a knowledge broker. My knowledge will empower you. And if you need more from me, then we can talk more about how I can help you if that becomes a thing. But it's okay to just give our knowledge, because and this is going to be true for everyone here. Many times people are afraid to give their knowledge away, but we don't have to be afraid, right? I've even had moments where I question, no, Nicole, why did you tell them that, right? But I regret even questioning it, because what I have been given was, yes, I had to go and get it. I had to go through processes to get it. But I'm the secret sauce to anything I do. You are the secret sauce to anything you do. So even if you tell me, Clayton, how to put a sew in my head, I am not going to be able to sew the back end. I'm going to have, it's going to be way up here. Like it's going to be something going on because that I can get it in, right? But I'm not the secret sauce to your process. I cannot make a wig. I probably, and I'm always messing with stuff. So I probably would try, but it's literally not my expertise. That's your secret sauce. Mercy, she has a secret sauce for empowering people and pushing them forward. Even me, even me. She has a certain way about her that causes you to say, Lord, I'm not fixing to let the Lord find me not doing what I'm supposed to do, period. Right? There's her secret sauce. Anisha, you have a secret sauce. Each of you all have a secret sauce for the thing that makes you you, right? So never be afraid to share your knowledge because, and again, I have had to grow through this even this year. We'll be challenged in lots of areas, right? But we have to grow. There's always a challenge. I just did a post about this. Change and challenges, they are absolutely inevitable. Growth is optional. We choose to grow through every situation, right? So tonight we are talking about getting started, being knowledge brokers, and having a why. So that is my why. I was asked to do this, and I was terrified to do it. At the time that I was asked to do this, I was literally on my floor praying that I would still have a house after Hurricane Harvey. And not just because of the storm, because my money was funny. Like it was a bad time for me. And this is what the Lord talked to me about instead. And I just didn't know what to do. So anyway, here we are, 6 years later? And I'm going from just talking to friends and talking to loved ones to putting some real teeth in this and some real walls around it. So Mogul School it is. All right, so why? So I created an acronym for why, because you can go to a lot of meetings, especially like the multi-level meetings. They always like, you gotta find your why, right? And it's like, ooh, I'm so inspired. But then when you really sit with that, what does that mean? Like you could say, my why is because, and this is part of my why, but like this doesn't galvanize me, right? But my why is I have to be with my children. I can't compromise on being available to them. I will not compromise on being available to them. So I need a life that's structured so that I have the freedom to be with them. But that's not really enough, to be honest, to be on a mission, right? That's not enough to do something in the earth. What that is a me-focused why. It's a my own children-focused why. And that's not really being purpose-driven. It can be if you're the CEO of your home and you are, staying home with your children and you're homeschooling, which of course I've lived through. But so I definitely am not saying that's a small thing. I'm just saying, depending on what you're called to do, your why has to be bigger than you. So let me use that stay-at-home mom example. If you're raising children in, the fear and admonition of the Lord, and you're preparing them for the world, that's a bigger why than you. You are literally creating little people who are going to grow into adulthood and go out and interact with the world and do something powerful on this earth. That is a bigger why than I need to be at cheer practice, right? Even though I do, even though I do want to, go to dinners and I want to be present, but my why can't be on that, because that's wonderful. We want to have lives that are at peace and comfortable, but there's more to what we are here for. I see you, Prophetess Anisha. That's fine. Do whatever you need to do. And so when we reframe how we look at our why, as I was using this example of a mom, there's a baby right there, but we look at our child rearing as something bigger than I am the mother providing the meals and the clothes, right? And the stability in the household. I'm preparing you for the people who are waiting for you to show up in the world. That's a bigger why, right? Okay, so if you have paper, we're going to write out the acronym for why. And so WHY, right? The question you always want to ask yourself, and again, this applies to whether you're launching or you're launching a new service or product line. There's a couple of questions under W. What problem will I solve? Right? So what is it that I am I'm creating an answer to. I'm gonna use Clayton again, because someone might look at hair and think, oh, it's just beauty and aesthetics, but not really. If you really sit and think about it, there are many problems that your business can solve. There is alopecia, there is cancer recovery, there is lupus recovery, there is hormonal hair thinning, there is, oops, I burned all my hair out. There are many things that your business can create a solution for. And so another thing about your why is it helps to power your messaging, right? So let's say for a moment that you had a spectrum of your business that was focused on cancer recovery and dignity during chemotherapy. Okay, let's just pretend for a moment that's one of your whys. So just knowing that that's one of your pillars, right, in what you're doing, you have a ton of messaging that you can develop around that. Because I know that your business is also God-led, that means you also have a lot you can do ministry-wise through your business, a lot of emotional and spiritual support that you can provide, if that's, you know, again, assuming that that was one of your pillars. So taking that example, guys, when you consider the things that you want to do, and really too for Kimberly, like I know that she has said that she's not sure what she wants to do. But as you're considering what you want to do, you'll be thinking about what problem will you solve, right? The second part of that, and I kind of touched it with Clayton, is whose problem is it, right? And the reason why you ask these questions is because there are big tools that you're going to build in your business. You have a customer who has a personality, who has a life. And the way you build your business out to actually impact and change that person's life is to know who they are. And so what problem am I solving and who am I solving it for? And so this is what you call your customer journey, right? This applies in ministry. You would say, so put yourself in the first person of your customer, and you would say, I am blah, blah, blah. Like, so I am I don't want to say it in I am because I'm talking about cancer, so I won't say that. But let's say the person is, you know, oh, look at Joseph, hey, cutie. But say the person is going through chemotherapy. So it would be customer is going through chemotherapy. When they are seeking an option to have hair, dignity concerning their hair, they choose Her Glory because, and then you have your, you know, whatever your bullet pointed reasons of why that person would. And so your bullet pointed reasons are not going to be what you think they are. They're going to literally be what that customer's reasons would be, right? It's very important. So when you're considering getting started, the very reason why you need a why is because you have to know who this person is, what their problem is, how, how, that's my next one, but how you're going to fill that problem, how you're going to change that situation. And the way you really get lasered in is you take the W and you start building out that customer journey statement. So my customer's name is Mary. Mary is going through chemotherapy. When she's looking for hair, she would choose Her Glory because Her Glory offers a line of products that do this, 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 and this. And the this, and this are all of the problems that Mary's facing and all of the questions she needs answered. So your why is bigger than your emotional connection to your business, okay? Your why is establishing a truth about your product and what it does and who it does it for. Okay, so that's W in Y. Now H, right? So H is how am I going to accomplish this? How do I do this? Right? So using this for Clayton. So the how can be a massive section, and I mean massive. And it's like those nesting dolls, right? Where you open one and there's more. Literally your how never stops growing. But an example would be, so how do I find this person? How do I, once I have found her, how do I cause her to be aware of me? Remember, your customer journey starts with who they are, what they want, and what they need this thing to do. So that is you have become aware of your customer, right? Your target. So if it's in ministry, and you're called to a wife, then this wife has her own avatar. Me and Mercy have talked a little bit about avatars. We didn't go in detail, but there's a lot behind building your customer or your just the target. Again, you guys, some language, it may be hard to hear the language when you talk about ministry, but again, if we're treating the mandate on our lives as a business, let the language just be what it is, because it's not minimizing, anything in ministry to something less than what it is. It's just giving language. Okay, so your target is knowing who they are is vitally important. Knowing what their problem is and how they will connect with you mentally and emotionally matters. And the way you find that, there's a few ways you find that. So once you have an idea of who the person is, you can do some just general research about the person you're looking for. Okay. And you can also do surveys. So if you're in business and you're looking to establish additional service lines or additional product lines, you can survey them and ask them questions. And so that will help you refine your customer journey statements. Okay. So remember, your why includes getting your customer journey figured out and building out your customer avatar, or I don't know what the word is for when you're in ministry. It's not a customer. Technically it's a customer, but just the person, parishioner, follower. I'm not really sure the best term to use, but how to connect with them is going to be, that is the axis that everything about your interaction with that customer will spin on, right? So your why is, what is the problem? Whose problem is it? H is, how do I connect with that person? And then how do I fulfill these needs? And so the connect part, it's not just, well, I'll give an example. So your how is going to include all of the instruments in your hands. So in Clayton's case, it might be holding sessions at the local cancer therapy clinics and talking about dignity, showing off some wigs, having private sessions where women can come and just look at what she has to offer, understand the mechanics and the structure, just all of those things, right? You can connect with them. And as you connect with them, then that creates an opportunity to keep the connection going. And we're going to talk in future sessions about automations and just how to stay in touch with your people. So that may be one of your how. That's how to find. But there are so many hows just, again, using that as an example. So the other thing is knowing that every one of us has many counterparts. There are many people who do what I do. There are many people who do what each of us is doing or wants to do. But how does the way I do it make things better? How do I offer a better, so there's a saying, build a better mousetrap. We're not trying to trap people, but you want to build a better widget, right? So what is it about you that is unique? I hate using that word because it's really not powerful enough, but what is it that makes you stand out amongst all of the others, right? Is it your service? Is it your willingness to be a knowledge broker? Is it how closely you may walk with your client, how well you may know your client, how well you understand their needs? What is the thing that makes you different? So in your why, in H, it's how am I different? How are my processes better? How are my processes more appealing? Is it in how long it lasts, whether it's a product or an experience, how long this experience lasts, how much this experience changes a person's life? All of these things go into your how. And again, we can dive deeper into that, at the end, when I'm done, you guys want to ask questions about any part of this why, you're welcome to do so. I want you to, because again, and Mercy, Anisha, some of you guys weren't here. What I was saying about Mogul School is I'm going to, along the way, share the things that were my pain points and the answers that I needed. But I really think it's super important that I hear what you guys need. and that each class is built around the needs that you guys are, the things that you're facing. So I don't want, this is literally an open invitation to say what you need. And I'm sure I can give you an answer. And if I can't, I can do the research that and couple that research with my experience and give you answers and direction. Okay, so that's W and that's H. Again, these are top level views. We can dig deeper. Oh, you can ask your questions, Prophetess Anya. I know you do. You're always welcome to ask your questions. And then the Y, the letter Y in this, I said it, but it really bears leaning into. The Y is you. You are the Y. You are, and I mean the letter Y, you are the secret sauce, you are the engine, you are the person every day that's getting up and making the decision to continue to deliver this solution. You are the one that's saying, no matter what's happening in my life, no matter how hard things might be, I am showing up and I am doing the thing that I have been called to do and the thing I've promised to do. It's you. So you are the thing that makes what you do different. You are the thing that makes what you do special. You are the, thank you. I'm being reminded of something. So Apostle Fred Aguche earlier this week, he had posted a note about consistency. And he said that many people don't make it, not because of lack of ability, but because of lack of consistency. And so just a moment ago, I was reminded of something that I heard Will Smith say. And he said, I might not be the best, I may not even be the most interesting, but I am going to work until I drop. So even if you could do the scene better, I'm going to outwork you. I'm going to show up. And so I do believe that we're in a season where the Lord is giving us an anointing of ease in our work, but the showing up consistently every day, doing even if it's not being on a thing, like I'm showing up if I'm working on the website. I'm showing up if I'm like, I have been working on, this is going to be so cool to y'all. I've been working on my relationship with software providers who will make marketing more hands-on so that you don't have to pay some big retainer to have a person like me, where you can literally just go into our portal, my portal, and turn on a service. So if you need SEO, you just go in, you power it up and it's yours. If you need, just things like that. So I've been working. So that's me showing up, right? Prophetess Anisha, getting the class ready, working out what the promotions are going to be, what the workbook is going to look like, all the extra, she makes so many special touches in her classes. That is showing up. So even if she's not giving a class every day, right, but building it out, that's showing up. So the Y, the letter Y, is you showing up. You doing the stuff every day, you asking the questions, you digging deeper into all of the things that go into the W and the H, right? You are the thing that rounds out the Y. All right, so Y, this is what I would challenge you guys between now and next week. And again, if you're already up and running, you probably think that you have your why figured out. But when you really sit with some of these things, like, what is the problem I'm solving? Like, I may have a mandate, but why did God give me this mandate? Like, why did he tell me to equip wives? What is the problem? Is it that, you know, for instance, we hear so often women, the voice of women has been muzzled, right? In spaces like ministry and sometimes in their homes. And so there's a big why behind why you were given this mandate. So digging even further into that, what happens though, is it ignites another level of fire, right? When we dig into the why. So I really encourage you guys between now and next week, dig into the why and let's talk about the why. Let's put the real, like the passion behind what you're doing. That is, man, it just takes, it makes it easier. Like we had the flu and everything. I don't know what we had the last 2 weeks, but whatever we had, it was trying to kill me. However, it didn't stop me from still, like I was feeble on my computer, but I was there. Lord knows. And you know, now I would say I do have to be careful. Jatoria, welcome, sweetheart. Thank you. Okay, okay, I won't call people sweetheart. I'll try my best since we're in Mogul School, but welcome, sweetheart. Okay. But so I'll give you guys an example. So I had a company, I still own this business. I'm just kind of on the fence on whether or not I'm going to turn the key in this thing again post-pandemic. But I owned a company called Delish. And it started out as just a simple thing to try to tide me over after I got laid off from so I used to be the national campaign and fragrance cosmetics and fragrance manager, marketing and campaign manager for a department store chain. And so my job was the perfume and the makeup for a huge chain of department stores. So I got laid off because they had a terrible Christmas and they just laid off a whole massive numbers of people. And I was really tired at that point. So I launched Delish thinking that I was going to just pay some bills. Well, no, I'm still one of those people that, like when Will Smith said, I'll down the treadmill before I get off. So the business became something way huger than what I would think. It went from, we had partnered with 2 gyms to just do meal prep for the clients. And that became, I ended up with several influencers. And so we did influencer marketing. We did a lot of joint venture marketing, and it grew to a national shipping business that shipped vacuum sealed healthy meals all over the country. Then we added drop shipping to that. And when I say we, it was me and Micah. And then we had delivery drivers who would, not at first though. At first I was the meal prepper, the label maker, the macro maker, the shipper, the vacuum sealer, and the delivery driver. And during that time, I would do that whole meal prep and then get in my car with the kids in their pajamas. And I would deliver all night long till the next morning. It was not easy. So I'm not asking people, what I believe is that we can hunger, and I am that type, right? I'm gonna work till it ain't nothing left. However, I wanna build a better mousetrap. I wanna share what I've learned from those tough moments to help it not be so challenging. So we're going to talk a lot about scaling. Anyway, so that business did scale. When we added drop shipping, we shipped athletic apparel and waist trainers. No problem, Prophetess Mercy. It's all good. You'll have access to the replay as well. I got you. I love you. So we started drop shipping, and we ended up with customers in Iceland. Don't ask me. And that was with no online advertising. So that business I started with an 88-cent investment, and it was at 6 figures before a year, and it just kept going. But so we're also going to learn about growth hacking. Growth hacking is when you don't have no budget. So you have to have ingenuity. I had no budget when I started that business. And my mindset was still, I ain't got no budget. So even when there was a budget, I was still working on growth hacking. So the way we grew the drop shipping was, this is just a little insight for things that you guys can do also. I would find posts that were talking about fitness or health, and I would be in those posts interacting with the people who were interacting with the post. And the biggest boon, I saw this work and my mind was blown. They were talking about a pair of leggings that I was drop shipping. It wasn't even my leggings. We just happened to get the leggings from the same distributor in China. And so when I saw this picture, I was like, oh yeah. Well, actually the lady wasn't selling them, she was wearing them. And I was like, oh wait, y'all like these? Let me tell you where you can get these. And all of a sudden I was getting orders as far as Iceland. So we'll talk about growth hacking. We'll talk about ways to be respectful, but also to get out there and get it. We're just going to be talking. And I'm not going to have anybody out delivering meal prep in the middle of the night. We're going to talk about how to avoid that, how not to be so obsessed like I can be, because I can be. But again, that has led to learning a lot. So this week is about why. I'm going to also, in your inboxes tomorrow, you're going to receive something really cool. You're going to get a template for a 1-page business plan. And I'm actually adapting a little bit to make it also into a one-page product launch plan. So I'm tweaking it, and so you may not get those in the same email because the one-page business plan is ready. So I'm going to send you that. You can treat it like a product launch. You're also going to get a fact sheet. And so the reason for these is, again, it's going to help you whittle into and dig deeper into your why. And that's important because, again, as we go from week to week, we want to have settled the question of why. We want to know, right? Because say you do grow to the point where you're shipping to Iceland. Your why is how you get there, right? Your why is what will help power you through the harder nights. People say, oh, I can't wait to grow my business. I want to ship to Iceland. Yes, the road to shipping to Iceland is a painful, it can be a painful road. So your why has to be in place. Adrian, thank you guys. This is one of my classmates way from high school. Y'all know I was in high school when Noah was on the ark. So hey, Adrian, welcome. So glad to have you. Oh, and Kaylani, so glad to have you too. So this is why it's important to know your why. And I hate that they came in on that line because I hate when people are talking about what's your why. Like it's deeper than rap. It's deeper than just the know your why. I just shared, ladies, as you're coming in, I'll just give you a quick overview. I have an acronym for why. And there's a formula to digging into why you're doing something. Kehlani, I love you. You're so cute. Oh, and I didn't even see Clayton. You too, Clayton, no problem. I'm so glad that you were here. The replay will be available to you, and thank you for coming. And I hope those nuggets that, since you ended up in the example, I hope those were, gave you some ideas. And if not, if you need more help with that, just reach out and I'll talk with you more. Anyway, so the why, so there's an acronym. It's the W is what problem will you solve? Whose problem is it, right? How are you different? How do you go about it? How do you connect? How do you know your customer? How do you know what they need? And again, we are using, okay, good deal. I'll look for it. After the class, I'll check out what you said and I'll respond to you. So what is the secret sauce? The Y, the letter Y in Y is you. You are the secret sauce. So this week, as we, plod towards next week, and I believe it's going to keep being on Thursdays. I've had a lot of requests for different days of the week, but people I'm in covenant with have stuff going on, and I'm just not going to be bumping into their stuff. I have also to do at least one ministry thing per week, and I haven't been because I was sick. So I have to keep a day open to minister, where it's not just business, but it's really just speaking the Lord's heart. So I'll try to be flexible. That's right. Kehlani, that's one of the things in the customer journey. So I am going to do a poll. I like Thursday too, Elizabeth. I really do. I think it's a good day. It doesn't bump into Bible study. And look, when I say that, Prophetess Charmaine, she has Bible study on Thursday. I'm like, you can't be in the Bible Belt. I know you're not in the Bible Belt because don't nobody have no Bible study on Thursday, but she's not. She's in Chicago. So anyway, but because I do love her and I have others in my life that I love who have asked for different days, we may have like some special broadcasts, some special breakout sessions. We'll just see. But right now, our flagship, our main day will be on Thursdays. And I think it keeps a pretty clean calendar and it doesn't bump into the people I love and the stuff they have going on. And I don't want to do that. Okay, so that's our primary focus this week. Getting started is knowing the depth of your why. And your why is not just, and you guys were not here, it's not just the things, I gave the example of a mom who, my why is I want to be with my kids. Well, we know that that's my why, right? But that's not the global why. The other why, the why that matters most is God's why. Why is this mandate been given to you? What is it that you're supposed to be doing on this earth with the thing you've been given? So this is where we start. And again, you're going to get the planning sheet in your email. As you go through the planning sheet, if you have questions, you are invited to ask me the questions. If you want to save them for next Thursday, you can do that. Doesn't matter. If you want to ask, what's really cool is if you ask questions throughout the week, even if we talk them through, no problem. I still will be able to bring those questions to the following class, because someone else may have the question and don't realize they have the question, right? You don't know until you hear somebody asking, you're like, oh, that's a good point. So as you're going through the planning sheet, do not be shy about reaching out, or just keep note of your questions, and then we can cover them in next week's class. So talk about the customer journey as part of the why. Do you guys have any questions about building a customer journey and a customer avatar? Any questions at all? It may not seem like a big deal, but it's a real big deal. That's a big deal. So any questions on that? I'm checking the chat real quick.
About the why?
Or so remember, the why has your customer journey, their perspectives. It's what is the problem that they have? What are the things that they need to have happen in order for them to go from knowing that you, well, first even knowing that you exist, but then after they know that you exist, what would make them buy from you? And you have to know what they want in order to translate that into it, you know, to convert that into some sort of buy-in, whether it's a sale or an enrollment or whatever. So yeah, the why as it relates to your customer.
So I think for me, because every time I do this exercise, like I just get, I don't get like all the way stuck. Like I get like part of it. But I think for me, like the biggest thing that I want to do, I don't know, I guess it's solving a problem in some way, shape, or form, but really just empowering. So it's not necessarily, I mean, I guess, like I said, I guess it's a problem, but my focus is like empowering and education. So then when I think about that, you know, I mean, empowering is kind of sexy, but education is only really sexy for people who love to learn. Like I love to learn, you love to learn, Mercy loves to learn, like we all love to learn, right? But you know, how can I translate my why or my customer avatar, or find my customer avatar in a way that it can still encompass that? Or do I really need to just like dive that deep to where it's like, oh, only people like us? Is that
Right.
That would be my avatar? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that would be my
So-
one question.
yeah, that's a great question. So here's the thing about empowerment. What is the pain point? What happens in the world? What happens on the earth when I empower women in this way? That's the question you're answering. You see, so not what happens to Nicole who loves to learn. What happens to the world when Nicole is empowered with the things that I give her? What happens on earth, right? What happens on earth when my target market is equipped, educated, empowered, and has the master keys to unlock whatever it is they're called to do? So that's a question God can help you answer too. So what happens if I do the mandate you've given me? What is the outcome? So remember when I was talking about children, if my goal is to be with my kids, that's one thing. But if my why is that I know that when Yael successfully leaves medical, like we've already had a vision, right? We know that she's called to pediatric oncology. We know we've seen an actual thing. Well, she saw a vision that she can carry. So I know that when I successfully do my job in her life, I will be sending a pediatric oncologist out into the world. And she's had a vision where she saw child after child ring the bell to be cancer-free, right? So then the why is bigger than I want to be present. The why is I am building a doctor. And that doctor already has a call on her life, right? So when you consider that customer avatar, who, especially in a coaching role, who am I equipping and what will they be doing on the earth when I'm done? So then you see how much more vast it becomes. So you may be given the gift of exhortation, right? And the gift of encouragement and the gift of equipping and teaching. But your why is bigger than your gift, right? Because that gift is going to, it's a domino effect. The more people it touches, oh, and Apostle Oscar said this to me, all the things that the person you equip touch and makes for the better is accounted to you as an apostolic person, right? As an apostle who's equipping people and sending them out into the world equipped. The good that they do, the souls that they win, the people that they touch, that's accounted to you. So it's a bigger why when it's beyond your exhortation, your education, and equipping. And so then you start looking at the exhortation, equipping, and educating as really critical, right? It becomes even more critical. And I know how you brood over your things. You're not just hatching eggs. I know that you're literally birthing things. And so I already know that's your heart. So taking your actual heart and even turning the key that much tighter and understanding that you're not equipping, you're what if so again, just coming up with random avatars, this may or may not be the right avatar for you, but let's say one of your streams of influence, because moguls are influential. That's the purpose. I know that when people see mogul, they think I'm talking about money. And of course, money comes with influence, but the influence that you're creating, right? So what if one of your streams of influence is wives who maybe don't have a desire to work, but they are undergirding someone who is making a cure for cancer, or they are undergirding someone who is building a software that makes it easier to function in Web3 and easier for the everyday person to lay hold of what's happening in Web3. Like you may be equipping a woman who is equipping someone else, right? You may also have a stream of influence as a woman who is in the workplace. There are believers in the workplace. I know people love to say, there aren't, but we're all sitting here. So we are proof that there are believers in the workplace. So that's crazy talk. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So maybe one of your streams of influence is that you are equipping those who are in the workplace to function in greater, like what Apostle was saying yesterday. That line, building an embassy in the camp of the enemy, laid me down flat on the floor. That's a bigger why, right? So when you consider them, all of them, the sea of faces that are your customers, divide them into streams of influence and really get a deep understanding of what your customer, the person you're called to, what they're touching. And it will help fine tune your message to like a razor edge. It will be super sharp, because once you know what they're touching, then you know what you have to equip them for, right? You have the armory. And so when they go looking for their weapons of war, their tools of the trade, they go to your armory and they find those things that help them do the thing they're called to do. So that you want to become intimately aware of who you're called to in this space called equipping wives and what she touches, because what she touches, you're touching. Ooh, whoa. And it's true for any business, but it's really true. Tanja's husband is a barber. And Tanja, you can correct if I have anything wrong, because again, I'm using just random examples. But for every person that business touches and creates a positive experience, we're talking beyond Yelp listings and good Yelp reviews, which is important. Reputation management is no joke at all. No joke. You have to manage your reputation. But if he starts thinking, for every young man that comes, every child that comes in here, I'm equipping him with self-esteem and, making it so that he respects himself. And so if he's respecting himself, he's respecting others. You really start digging in, even into businesses where you wouldn't even think like, is it that deep? Yes. If you are someone that God has sent, then it's that deep. It's always that deep. Even, in a service industry, there is always someone that you're equipping for something. And so when you know what you're equipping, what they're needing to do, then you know what they need in order to do it, right? So did that help answer your question?
Yes, that was very good. Thank you. You said we would have the replay? I tried to write some notes, but I'm in the car, so.
Yes, you will have the replay.
It's hard to flip back.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to figure out, because I really want to encourage people to come into a school space And even, I've heard Apostle Oscar said, boy, when you do it for free, it'd be like, people take more time to understand free than they do to understand pay. It's so interesting. But so I don't know if I'm gonna post the replay. I may post the first few. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but you guys will have access. And remember, my vision, my focus is to be a knowledge broker. So you can always just message me too if you have more questions, especially when you're going through the one sheeter. Okay, I see there are some notes. Let me just check and make sure I don't miss anybody's questions. Okay, Adrian. So Adrian's saying, how do I make it for me? My vision. Can you unmute and just say a little bit about your question, so I want to have a full understanding before I just launch into one of my long Nicole answers.
Okay, because you said about the children, how the lady wanted to, be there for her children. Well, I don't have children. So I want my vision to be about me. How do I grow my business? How do I reach those people? Because I am in a service industry. I serve everybody, seniors, disabled, children, pets. My business is all about people. So I want to know,
what is your business, if you don't mind sharing?
My business is a family service. It's called Tootie's Family Services because my grandson calls me Tootie. So we do everything that involves the family. We start off from birth. I have night nannies. I have doulas. I have nannies who take care of small children. And then we do Kid Uber, where we take care of the elementary age kids. We travel with families when they're on vacation. And then we go into the disabled. We have people who are disabled who need rides, who need assistance grocery shopping. Then we go into the senior care. We take care of seniors, Alzheimer's, dementia. We just become part of the family. And then all the way down to the pets. So if you decide, okay, we're going on a family vacation, but we're not going to take Rover with us, we stay with your pet. So it's just from infants all the way to seniors and all the way to the pets. We do everything that has to serve the family.
So first, let me applaud you, because that means you've been doing this for years, because you've done this for me years ago.
Yes.
When I was traveling for business, you were you nannied to my children, and you did an amazing job. So hats off that you are still doing it. God bless you. God bless your business. So there's a few things that are coming to mind as you're talking. You can scale your business. So I want to ask you this: are you treating it like a staffing agency yet, or have you branched beyond putting yourself in that space, or do you also have others that you staff and send?
Yes, I do. I do both, because I'm not a micromanager. I just like to make sure that my systems flow. Yes. So I'm learning how to delegate, but I do have people that work for me. Okay. So it's kind of 50-50. Like I have a family who's the father has Alzheimer's, but the mother, she's had brain damage from an accident that she has. So I have someone who's there with them, but I still go over and see about them. So it's half staffing, half myself being in all the roles.
Okay. So as you scale, and hopefully as you join us every week, this will be a big help to you. As you scale and you put in systems where you can send more people that you trust, you'll be able to pull yourself more into the CEO role and then into a chairman role, right? Because our goal is, not to be what I was saying earlier, where I'm doing the whole thing and then I'm doing the deliveries. It was just a lot. So there's a way to scale a business, even when you're relying on that business to pay your bills. Okay. So the first thing is, you're right. You have to dig deeper on your why. So if you are the extension of people's family, right? Now, again, you can almost take that role, like I was saying about moms. We aren't just mothers. It's a big role, but we're not just mothering our little baby chicks for the sake of just keeping them safe. That's massive. But we're equipping human beings to serve the world at some point. So in the kind of business that you have, it's a very similar role. You are providing the underpinning for families to accomplish what they're in the world to accomplish, and not have to worry about the safety and the sanctity of their home and the safety of their children. And so your why is you're an equipper, right? You're a supporter, you're a glue. And so when you're sitting with your why, you're saying, what problem will I solve? So my problem that I'm solving is, I'll use myself as an example. I was a single mother with a massive career that was extremely demanding. I was traveling all over the world with a house full of kids. I needed someone that I could trust so that if I'm in another nation across, 10,000 miles away in a different time zone, jet lagged and trying to run meetings and trying to function and, bring home the bacon, so to speak, I needed someone that I could trust with my children. And I knew I could trust you. So you are powering trust. You are giving peace of mind. You are giving safety. You are giving security. These things are major, but you're giving them so that someone can go out and effectively do what they've been called to do on the earth. So your call is wrapped up in their call, right? And so when you say, what problem do I solve? That's the ingredient that goes into answering that question. Whose problem is it? Well, you've named them. Patients who are no longer mobile, those who maybe people with dementia cannot function in the world safely on their own any longer, small children, pets who can't care for themselves. So the most vulnerable, right? So this is the problem of the most vulnerable. This is the problem of those who provide for the most vulnerable, but can't be there because they're providing. So you have to be able to answer those questions. And then I want to say something to you about scalability. Your business is very, the type of business model you have, if you're willing to take some brave steps in terms of scaling and pulling yourself out, out of the role where you're running the business, constantly doing all the things, it's the type of business that can get really good, solid government contracts also, because there are, right now on the City of Houston purchasing site, they are looking for help with some, I can't remember what it was, but it was something related to elder care. You actually run a business that can go beyond kind of like the home services, but you just have to kind of first get this why down, right? So go beyond, it's about you, because it is, but it's even more. So your call is to support the call of others. But then after you get this figured out, this why, and you get really solid on it, you can actually package your services to go to, to municipalities. If you're providing transportation and you see those transportation vehicles with seniors in them, that's a government contract. And there is no business too small for these contracts. So the cool thing about, and I've had government contracts, so I can testify, like it's not that, okay, it's a process, but once you can offer once you have what you offer packaged properly, you can take on projects that are the size that fit your company. You can actually grow your business with those types of contracts. You can literally jump your revenue from one category to the next category with government contracts. So we can talk more about that, but I just want to kind of show you what's possible after you dig into your why. That's very possible. It's so within your reach. If you go to purchasing.houston? Let me look real quick and I can tell you. And you can just look. Now, I don't know if that one has been filled already, but if it's not, it'll still be there and you can see what I'm saying. Purchasing.houstontx.gov. And really, all of you guys in whatever city you're in, that's a good thing to do anyway. You can look and see what possible contracts are available. It's not hard to bid on RFPs for the city, even local universities, places like that. So that's just a food for thought. So when you're working on your why, know that whittling down and really understanding what you do and who you do it for is preparing you for taking your business to bigger places, and it's very within your reach. Okay, so did that help? I hope. Oh, I missed Tanja's message. She was saying she had to step out. So Adrian, I hope that helped. So guys, we're starting to get to the part where we're going to be closing soon, because my other commitment is, since we're doing this every week, I'm not going to have you, and y'all are on so much of our different stuff. I don't want to have you, drag you down and have you somewhere, for 3 and 4 hours. I did make the space big enough in terms of I set it up for 3 hours so there'd be room for you to ask your questions. But are there any other questions about digging into the why on tonight?
Not for me.
Okay, Adrian, just keep me posted when you get the email with the one-sheeter. If you have questions, reach out. That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else about anything that we've covered tonight? So tonight is just like, the beginning, but it was a lot of my words coming out. So if you have questions about anything I said, do ask, or questions about anything I haven't said, lay them out there. I'll give you answers. No, we good? Okay, so you may have seen that I posted the newest iteration of the Mogul Factory's website. I mentioned a moment ago that I'm pretty much done negotiating my software relationships. So some really cool softwares are coming where you'll be able to do your own digital campaigns, all of it. Everything that you can think of will be available on the site. So I posted the link. It's not all, it's just you're kind of landing so you kind of know what the Mogul Factory is about, but I'm going to be rolling out the softwares over time. So just keep an eye out on that. The other thing to expect this week is you're going to get the one-sheeter tomorrow. And then, you'll have a way to, all y'all got my phone number or one of my phone numbers when we started. So you can message me on Facebook. You can ask your questions anytime, and I'm thrilled to answer them. I mean, it's my delight to answer them. I have so many resources also. I have so much stuff, I don't even know what to do with it. So if there's something you're looking for in terms of a tool, if I happen to know of a free or very low cost tool, I probably do, about just about anything related to running a business, marketing a business, or growing a business, please just ask. If it exists, I probably have either heard of it or touched it or taken a class for it. So I'm delighted to share it with you if I can, but I don't know unless you ask me. I'm going to be, offering different suggestions every week, but the more I know what you need, the better. Okay. And then, so I said that about the email. You're going to get the email. If you have questions along the way, just reach out. I hope that this was helpful as a getting started weekend. Were you guys helped by the things that we talked about tonight?
Very helpful. Very helpful.
Good.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. I'm glad. I'm grateful to know that. And it's going to get better every week, more and more information. You might be like, okay, easy on the info. But you know what? People will pull you into a free webinar. Do you know what they'll tell you in the free webinar? Why their lifestyle is better because of the thing they actually want to sell you. And I just will not be that person. I'm going to equip. There will be some things I can't do for free just because it may cost me something to do it. But this part I can do all day long. So more to come. I'm an open book and an open door, so reach out anytime. The other thing I'm going to be doing as we go along, I'm going to be sharing jobs that I find, because not everybody wants to be fully self-employed. And I've been looking at the crypto market and the kinds of jobs that are out there, because I want to share that in this class that's coming up. I'm going to also do that in this kind of side hustle entrepreneurship space too, because some of the things that you're learning can actually be applied in some amazing, amazing career opportunities. And like in crypto, there are jobs that are paying close to, well, upwards of 160, 200,000 a year, like just because of knowing, knowing the industry. So I'm going to be sharing things like that as well. Absolutely, Kimberly. You have a master's in education. There are so many doors that you can walk through. And and I want to talk with you more too about your ideas and what what you're hoping to bring forward, and I'll help you with that. Kayla, I know you had made a comment. I want to go back and not miss your comment. Make sure. Let me go back and find it. I was just reminded to do that. Let's see. You are welcome. What I saw you say something. Bear with me a second. Okay, good deal. So as you as you go through the week, Kayla, again, open door, all of you guys. Jatoria, you've been mighty quiet tonight, and I know you got in after I had said a lot of the things, but any questions that you have after you watch the replay or whenever, reach out. I am available. Okay, so I think that wraps up our first week. It's just the getting started week. So next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the customer journey. We're going to dig into, more in the purpose, but we're also going to look at that one sheet business plan and kind of see where you guys landed. And I'll ask questions because it's going to ask you questions like your marketing. It's going to ask you, it's going to ask you some questions that when you actually have to answer them, it gets a little weird. Like you actually have to say, wait, do I know the answer to this? So we'll be able to talk through your experience with that document also. All right, so I think we've reached a good place for tonight. I want to thank you for joining me here in Mogul School. I look so forward to all that we will do in weeks to come. Hopefully, one of the things that I promised in the crypto classes is that we would do a project, and we're building to that. This next class is going to kind of be the springboard for, walking people through starting their own project. And so maybe we will do something similar in Mogul School. I just need to kind of think through what that looks like. But more to come, more fun. We're going to have fun. There will actually be a product for this time that we spend together. I'm excited too, Elizabeth. So I love you guys. I bless you. I bless you in everything that you do. I pray that God stretches his hands over your ideas. I pray that as we, spend this time apart, that he will fill you with ideas and witty inventions, that you will be given the blueprints of heaven, that you will fine tune your purpose and your mission on this earth to a razor sharp edge, and that when you shoot, you don't miss a target, and that what you have to deliver lands in the right places every time. I just bless you. And I love you guys. I pray that all goes well with you as the week goes forward. And I just seal that with the blood of Jesus. I look forward to seeing you again. And that's a wrap for the first night of Mogul School. I love you. Bye.